Hey gamers, welcome back to a brand new DSP video. Since it has been about a month of DSP switching from the goal streak rewards to the goals hit rewards, I kind of want to discuss just how it's been working for this amount of time, because when he initially pitched the idea of doing a goal set reward for each time you hit a goal, every 50 goals we'll do a marathon or whatever. He made it sound as if like, hey, there's gonna be no pressure. We don't have to hit the goal every stream. It's just whenever we hit the goal, we will add it to the total, and when we hit 50 goals, hey, we can celebrate, and you can also like hit the goal multiple times in one stream. All this stuff, which on paper sounded good because it would mean less pressure on the viewer, less times to bring up, hey guys, we gotta hit the goal, guys, come on, and all this other stuff. And you would think that this would naturally celebrate genuine or organic support, as organic as you can get, to be fair. But what we ended up getting was a system that was far more predatory and far more aggressive than ever before, because you start to notice over time that DSP was bizarrely married to the idea of doing DSP tries like at the end of the week, like Friday. And at first, you could argue, well, this is him just wanted to keep doing a streak just with a different name, which I do think that's the case. He would love to brag about, as much as he changed the system, hey, we're doing it consecutively anyway, see how cool that is, or whatever. I mean, it always benefits him anyway. It's a win-win for him in reality. But that's like one aspect of it. But I do think there is another aspect as to why DSP always pressures his audience to make sure they hit the goal in time for Friday. And this is going to go behind the scenes style theorying. When you cook food, you always have enough for leftovers, and you can eat that throughout the week and all this other stuff. I feel like he timed these DSP tries it around when he would run out of food or run out of leftovers, so then he would be able to eat out, because not only does he get to eat out, but the stream gets the cover for that. So, it's directly a situation where they're not losing a lot of money to do that, and it becomes financially reasonable or whatever. Which is insane. I mean, on one hand, it's like, yeah, I get it. Sure, you want to, why not, right? But it becomes so rigid, and it becomes like, well, then the real point wasn't to do these goals whenever you hit them at that point. It becomes more about, hey, we just need to hit it here because we didn't have any food to eat for dinner. Again, that's one aspect of it, because he would always leverage like, well, I guess I have to tell Kat to take the food out of the freezer to warm it up for dinner tonight, like that kind of shit. So it's not that they were starving if they didn't hit the goal, obviously, but it's very unfair to the viewer, because that's not what he agreed to, and that's not what he proposed for the system in the first place. Like, you just look at how the goals panned out and how this reward system has panned out over time, you start to realize this isn't what DSP has promised, like, at all. Like, he did not want to do that golden food website thing because, oh, the food is perishable and we don't know how frequent we're gonna hit the goal, and it's too much money, don't want to do it. Rare Tricks cucked himself out and decided to buy him a rum cake, and DSP then is like, well, then we have to hit the goal for Wednesday. We have to. Absolutely locked it in. Absolutely. Instead of like, maybe just hit the goal and then say, well, since this is going to take a while, plan it that way. Instead, he just was like, well, we have to hit the goal by Wednesday no matter what, which is like, you're going back to just pressuring the audience. And again, he didn't want to say no to Rare Tricks for buying him food. This is just another problem that DSP put himself in, that he wants to offload on his viewers. Like, you watch the WWE podcast that he does with PPP, and it is really funny how PPP told him multiple times how this was a very sinister scheme and this and that to his face. And of course, since PvP is doing it in like a facetious tone, DSP doesn't really care, and he continues the facade of like, yeah, man, and yeah, it's a scam, yeah, all this other bullshit. But it's like you're getting people to give you money for this. Like, this is a real problem, and it's just like you made this change in the name of doing something nice for your viewers, but you have double, quadruple down on the pressure, aggressive style that the streak system was. And when you really just look between the two systems, it seems that it's far more predatory and far more aggressive now than the streak system, because the only pressure the streaks ever had was, we got it $150 this stream, guys, we have to. Now we're getting to the point where we are like calculating how much money to hit per stream to catch up on pace of the goals hit that he wants to hit, etc. Like, he misses one stream of a goal being hit, and then he'll tell you on the next stream, well, guys, you have to hit 300 to make up for the lost time. We gotta do that. We gotta make up for lost time. If you didn't hit the goal like 5 times, like for 5 streams, guys, we gotta make up for the lost momentum. But the whole point of this goal hit wasn't to maintain momentum. It was to just count how many times he has hit the goal, basically. Like, this is the same like nonsense he doesn't seem to understand with counting streaks, where you're counting streaks on like just how long can this keep up, and then if it doesn't, you start over, and then you see if the next one will continue. But he would always try to artificially extend the streaks. And now he changed that to this goal hit, so it's not like he's morphing or forcing the streak to continue, and he can't be accused of doing that. But this is far more predatory on any viewer, because you give him 150, he will then tell you, guys, we could double the goal, guys, let's double the goal, and this and that. And if you miss a goal, then it becomes the responsibility of the next stream to make up for that. And if it doesn't, then the next stream will be responsible for those 2 streams, and it will just snowball until the king is satisfied. And there's no, in my opinion, there's no fair way that a DSP fan could possibly hope to notify DSP of just how bad this looks, because they'll either be seen as a troll or that I'm just stating an observation. I'm saying I'd like to make up momentum. We don't have to. He hides behind these weasel words that it's like, that's not in good faith. It's a very disingenuous argument you always fall into with DSP, because, you know, obviously he's a narcissist, but it's just, the reason why I wanted to make this video is mostly to highlight just how predatory this system is, more so than ever before. And this is something that is really ironic or funny when you look at it, coming from a dude who worked at Wells Fargo that has been embroiled in controversy about their lending habits and all this other stuff. Like, DSP called them predatory lenders, and you have DSP running a stream as, you guessed it, a predatory streamer. And you really start to wonder, did he learn some of his predatory tactics from Wells Fargo, or has he just always been predatory on people for their money? But you could even argue this predatory behavior, kind of in a way, came out of nowhere. Nowhere mostly being, it started to manifest more when he started accepting tips, when he started doing rewards for tips, namely the vest streak. You can really go all the way back to the vest streak, and that's kind of the source of all this greed and predatory habits on his viewers. Because before that, the most you would get is talking about the Patreon goal, but that is at least a goal, and it's on a website, and you get rewards for doing it. And like, you know, it was just annoying to hear about it and all this stuff surrounding the Patreon goal, but it was just about like just that simple goal, and it's like, hey, you have till the end of the month to hit this goal, and that was it. And it did not last. Like, I would be interested to see the Patreon goal hit begging that he did in 2015, 2016, compared to the goals hit begging he's doing now. And I'd be curious to see which ends up being worse. At best, here they may be only semi equivalent, but that's like the best case scenario for this to turn out. But I'd be curious to see how that turns out, because you look at like 2013, all this, at most he'd be begging for views and ad revenue basically, but he would never sit there and pressure his audience, because he didn't have anything at the time that was as directly connected to tips at the time. He did have like a PayPal donation link, but he never really pushed it as much as he pushes PayPal now. So this whole goals hit situation, I would argue, is far worse now than any of his other begging in the past. Especially when you look at these goals. He got the Sakura box of snacks. He has on in the background of his food. He slaps the box to let you know, hey guys, we can do it. We can eat candy. And I'm just sitting there like, okay, well, you remember the point of this is that you can hit the goal whenever and you'll do the reward. Now he's willing to change the reward because he thinks if it was fast food, he'd hit it now. He would have been doing Popeyes right now if he just did that instead of the Sakura box. But again, you go to December when he unveiled this goal system, he literally told people that there'd be no pressure as to when to hit the goal. As long as we hit the goal, that's all that matters. And we'll eventually do the goals eventually. That way we'll always be doing goals whenever we hit the goal, but we don't have to worry about hitting the goal, every stream. That was the point. And it really becomes apparent that all of this goal system, it was very clear ever since he changed from how the goals, the king streak to the king's goal or whatever. So that way, instead of like he can keep tally, because when he would used to do goal streak 1, it's like that's not really a streak because you're counting one thing. So he changed that to goals hit at the or king's goal or whatever, and he said 1. That way, it's like, hey, it's not a streak. I can still count it. But he would still count as a streak at the time. That's like the first instance of him changing a wording so that no one can call him out on that. That was like number 1. Number 2 was this change from going from streaks to goals hit, and that is just very simple. Just a excuse, a facade to pretend as if, hey, I'm not counting streaks anymore, guys. This is just goals hit, and we can do it whenever. Guys, this isn't streaks. You don't have to worry. There's no pressure. It's really the, I really forgot the name of it. I mean, maybe it's gaslighting. I don't know. I think gaslighting is dealing with, like, you're trying to change the perception of what happened in the past, basically. But it's mostly just lying to you. He's telling you something just so you don't accuse him of that. Like, like, I'm not doing the thing you're thinking I'm doing because this is I'm getting ahead of it. And I'm telling you right now, this is what I'm doing. So if you're thinking I'm pressuring you, I'm not pressuring you because I said that there's no pressure. So how am I pressuring if I said there's no pressure? And it's like, that's not, that is just weasel. You're weaseling around things. And it's not, you're never going to get a genuine argument from him. That's why when you do these stupid ass, feedback sessions with him where, guys, I don't know what goal that we should do. You guys don't seem to like the Sakura box. So what, you guys want to do something else? And it's like, so what was the point of this? In reality, because he's only wanting to change it because he wanted to hit the goal this week. Meanwhile, the system itself was based around hitting the goals whenever. But now it's like, well, guys, if you would hit these goals milestones, these 10 goals, whatever, every week, and we would be eating food once a week. Oh, but it seems this week we're not going to be doing that, so there must be something wrong. But I thought that this was supposed to be less pressure. But then when he has a goal that's like $50, and this is for a few days, he starts saying, well, this can't be successful. Meanwhile, he said $50 a stream was successful. Like, You just look at all of this stuff and it's just coping. It's just as simple as that. It's coping, excusing failure, all this stuff. And these are just mechanisms he would shame other streamers for doing. And you see how he just unveils his socks. He talks about his underwear now. He wants to show off his underwear when he hits the goal. Suppose, I don't know if that was a bit for like one stream, or he's gonna start doing, well, every stream, guys, since this underwear has days of the week printed on them, you can hit the goal and we can see the day of the week or whatever the fuck. I don't know. I hope that's not the case, but it could be at this rate. But he's highlighting all this stuff that he would mock other streamers hardcore about. I mean, again, he mocked Bad Bunny for saying a Twitch sub is $5 and said that how dare she be ungrateful for the support she gets. And anyone can have any opinions about that, but when it comes from the guy who is belly aching for not hitting $150 for a week straight to eat Sakura box candy or whatever the fuck, you tend to not really seem to care that Bad Bunny was asking for $5. Just out of pure comparison. And of course he would love the idea of all these viewers coming and giving them $5 to hit the goal, whatever the fuck. But that's never the case. The other thing is, when you look at the Argentina memberships, now everyone's already talked about how he got the math wrong and this and that. I'm not going to focus on that aspect of it. I'm just going to focus on the key fact that he only did it because people were said that, oh, we got him, and he literally just wanted to cope so bad, and he wanted to felt the trolls, that he decided to count the Argentina memberships and decided to fudge the math a little bit and say, well, in reality, it's this or that. But regardless, he has gotten literally thousands of Argentina memberships and refused to count that in the past, and refused to care about them. But now suddenly, getting like 150 Argentina memberships, well, we hit the goal, guys, because the trolls did these Argentina memberships. So what about the ones when you got like 1,000 or 200? You got more than 145 over, in the past. And you said those were pennies on the dollar. And then when someone brings up that Google shows the conversion rates, he says, well, you're exposing yourself to Google that you are lying and you are committing fraud by using a VPN. But no one said a VPN when they showed the conversion rates. And even if that's the case, how can Google really fault them? And even then, you could go further with this and just realize it doesn't matter, because that doesn't take away from what's being accused of. It's a red herring. Because instead of like focusing on what's being said, you're saying, well, they're using a VPN, they're breaking terms of service, so Google would ban them, right? And it's like, okay, they'll get banned, but you're also making, like less than what you're saying you're making. So it doesn't really matter to bring that up. But of course, DSP has to do this because he has to cope, because that's all he has. Ever since he has gotten in bed with Kino Casino and PPP specifically, he has decided to just cope for everything. He cannot take any ounce of any criticism anytime that a troll has got one over on him. And again, the best way to own trolls is to literally just ignore it. I mean, this dude is just a streamer, and he does all these things because of what trolls have been doing. So that is all I have to say about this goal system. I think it's a colossal failure in what it was set out to do when he announced it. It is a financial success in the sense that he's able to pressure whales to come out and support. Now, people are mentioning the Iron Chef Sakai thing going on, where he has vanished. Where is he? Who knows? Yet DSP claims he has talked to Iron Chef Sakai and he's fine. Now, you could argue, is that truthful? Did he lie? Because he could lie. Honestly, he could have just lied so that people would stop talking about it, because just remember, when he banned Derek so people could just move on from bringing it up. He didn't ban Derek because of the playlist he had, or that Derek was spamming in chat or any of these other things that people bring up about Derek. He only banned him so people will shut up about him. That is it. So it wouldn't surprise me if DSP lied, a known liar on top of that, would lie and say he talked to Iron Chef Sakai so that people can't say, oh wow, Iron Chef Sakai left. Because DSP on some degree knows Iron Cuck Sakai probably will not come out of hiding to discuss anything. And if he does come back, guess what? DSP wins because he got a whale to come back. So it is at the end of the day pointless to even give a fuck where Iron Chef Sakai is in that kind of way when it's very obvious, hey, he's gone and no one is like wheeling out right now. So we're gonna have to wait until the next wheel comes in through the revolving door, because either Emil will come back, because Emil sometimes comes back when whales leave, or Emil comes in to ease in another whale to come back. So it's like a circular kind of revolving door that just happens in weird ways. So that's all this is. This reward system is just it's not succeeding in what it was set out to do, and DSP cannot implement it. He can't implement anything. He wanted to do at goal hit 100, play Stellar Blade. He plays it on Christmas Marathon as Santa Claus. People hated it because the whole time he was doing passive aggressive and said, well, you guys didn't like it. You guys hated it. Without really addressing that people didn't like it because they didn't like the commentary they were listening to because he was being a baby. He wasn't being fair in playing it. That's why I did that parody video of me playing Dragon Guard 3 as Darkside Theo. Really just to illustrate how fun it is to watch someone play a game with a predetermined experience. Now, of course, I've said this over time, that Dragon Guard video was hard for me because I did kind of enjoy the game, and it was very hard to hate it because I was like, well, man, the music's really good, and that's really what happened with it. It's a janky game all the same, but when you watch DSP play Stellar Blade, it's very clear he had a idea already going in playing that game, and that's kind of the origin of why these goal hit will never really work, especially when he keeps asking for feedback. And then on top of that, let's also talk about this before I forget. Sakura Box was a thing he said was a advice he got from his fans. They wanted something different. He got Sakura Box. Now, he's like, well, I shouldn't have listened to you guys. I should have done Popeyes. He now wants to do another stream where they discuss what to do next. And it's like, you just said that you shouldn't listen to your chat, and now you want to do another stream listening to your chat. You can't make this up. And then on top of that, just because you do something different doesn't mean it's gonna be a massive success. Half the time when you do something different, you have to take the L sometimes. But again, the way he proposed this goal hits feature, that there was no goal that was gonna fail, because again, he said that we'll be celebrating rewards when we hit the goal. He didn't say like the momentum mattered, or that, oh, we have to hit the goal every week or whatever, or by Friday we have to hit goal 10. Even though when you think about it that way, when he wanted to hit 10 goals hit by Friday, you start to notice he's asking for way more money than what he proposed it to be. Where it's, hey, hit the goal whenever. He wants it in a specific time. So instead of being like, at most, maybe minimum is hitting the goal one time a stream. But he will always go to double goal anyway. So that's like the minimum. You're never really getting less begging. It's just more aggressive begging. That's what you traded. You traded begging for more begging, but more aggressive. So it's just nonsense. It's all nonsense with his goal hit. So that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I may come back to it in the future because there are some times where I forget to talk about stuff, or that something will develop. But that is it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.